Hi everyone! Now most of the locals are sleeping and we are heading to our destination, which is full of the easiest source of food that can be found anywhere on the planet, near the oceans and seas. And these are limpets. Choose a place wisely, it should be a rocky terrain revealed by the low tide. They may not be very noticeable because of the barnacles that have settled on them. To collect limpets, we need some tools. To collect limpets, gently pry them off rocks using a flat tool like knife, a putty knife, hammer, and even just stone, which you easily can find everywhere. This is the case when delicacies are just under your feet. These small conical shells adhere to the rocks like edible jewels. So what we need to do is to sneak up because they can feel the vibration, and if they know you are coming, they're going to clamp down really hard. It's just simply impossible to separate them from the stone by hands. They have a very strong muscular foot which they use to stick to the rock or stone. That's not all, but it's only been 2 minutes and here's what we've collected. Limpets may seem listless, but they are actually working hard during both high and low tides. When the rocks are wet, limpets move about, grazing on diatoms, microscopic plants laid on the rocky surfaces. When the rocks are dry, limpets must take action to conserve moisture. They return to their home sites where they snuggle in by clinging tightly with their muscular feet, waiting for next high tides. It's also interesting that home scars exist. What is it? I'll explain now. Limpets wander over the surface of the rocks during high tide and tend to return to their favorite spot by following the trail of mucus left while walking. Over a period of time, the edges of the limpet shell wear a shallow hollow in the rock called a home scar. The home scar actually helps the limpet to stay attached to the rock and not to dry out during low tide periods. It's not that difficult to separate limpets from a stone. We should tap them off the rock. We can do it even either with our foot or with a small stone, which are everywhere. But you won't often succeed with the foot. A shell, even if it's not that noticeable because of the barnacles, a type of arthropod, a shell is a little miracle of engineering because it's actually designed to resist wave action. And engineers have looked at the design and realized that it's the optimum design for dissipating power. And as I said, their surface is covered with barnacles, which play both a positive and negative role. For example, there is a resource competition and competition for space. Both attach themselves to rocks, and there can be competition for prime locations. This competition can affect the distribution and abundance of each species. Barnacles also can benefit from limpets by using them as a shelter. And barnacle shells can provide a physical barrier that helps shield limpets from predation and environmental stresses. And it's also a good disguise. But at the same time, barnacles which are attached to the shell and to the stone may influence the attachment and movement patterns of limpets. Limpets may need to adapt their behaviors to navigate around barnacle-covered areas and even carry some of them on their shells. The relationship between barnacles and limpets is an example of intricate web of interactions that shape ecosystem intertidal zones. If you look closely, there are quite a lot of them here. By the way, we don't collect them just for nothing or just for video, but we are going to cook them later for dinner. And of course, I will show everything in the next videos. So we shouldn't waste any second because the water is already coming, the peak of the low tide has already passed, and it lasts a few minutes, by the way. Here is our harvest and it's enough for dinner. And the limpets have already started to come out and want to find out what is happening here. They look pretty cute to me, like a little aliens in a shell. A few more of them and we can go. They are located quite close to each other. By the way, they can be cooked simply on the fire, but unfortunately it's not allowed to make bonfires here. Therefore, in the next video we will cook a simple, super simple but delicious and fancy dinner. Someone collects flowers, someone collects mushrooms, and someone collects limpets. Moreover, this is the kind of collection from which you can get pleasure, and not just collect for dinner. Their anatomy is more similar to snails that live on land, but they are also snails, but already aquatic ones. And in France and some other countries, they are very popular and people really like them. But they are not cheap as well. It may be strange for some people, but it's actually delicious. Oh, and here is a small fella, already feeling that we are carrying something interesting and maybe something delicious. A small jumping dog. Jumps like a spring. We also found a place with mussels, but they are quite small. We need to find a place where they are bigger, but it's already later. So stay tuned, soon there will be new videos, new searches, new finds and recipes on my channel. Thank you so much for your watching and attention. See you in the next videos. Have a nice day.